tough is actually getting a hit on it, because as you can see, the floating heads around it protect it like a shield, and sometimes are hard to get through. And once you've destroyed all the floating heads around it, you're going to have to deal with all the floating heads that are coming at you from all directions. Try to do your best moving left or right to avoid the floating heads coming at you from off-screen, and only attack when you absolutely have an opportunity to. No point in trying to waste health trying to hit it. Having the cleaver here is definitely a help. Once it's defeated, you're going to walk a little bit and then a church hymn is going to play. Originally, this boss battle took place inside a church instead of a long hallway, so they decided to keep the hymn in there even though it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to us. Stage 5 has one of the best moments in video games, and you can see that this level is going to have something to do with Rick's girlfriend, Jennifer, in this stage. The first hallway is a library, and we have to deal with more of the possessed furniture that we had to deal with in the Poltergeist boss battle. Not very tough, so just take your time against the chairs. Now this part is definitely a little bit more challenging. You have different slopes of the platforms that you have to jump to. If you jump on the wrong side, you'll see that you'll actually start sliding down one of them, so you have to be very careful when making your jumps here. Take your time and don't jump unless one of the hands is not jumping up along with you, or take out the jumping hand ahead of time. When you make it to the end of this part, you have two choices, going up or down. Both parts take you to a different part of the level. I'm going to head up in this run. In this part, we have to deal with ghosts that are going to be dropping objects from the ceiling, as well as different haunted paintings trying to attack us. It's not too long of an area, and when you reach the end, there's another ladder, or you can go right to go into the next room. Going right will lead to another series of mirrors, so we have to deal with more of the Rick clones. There is two strategies, of course, for these guys. Attacking them as soon as they come out, as well as then just standing still. Or if you want to be more on the offensive, it's a little bit more dangerous, but will take them out quicker. You just have to time your jump attacks at the right moment in order to actually be able to hit them. In the next room, you can see that it's that long red stuff that was in the first boss battle of the game, and we have more of those leeches jumping out from it. This time, however, the screen is scrolling along with us, so we have to be very careful when some of them are going to spawn off-screen and jump for you. Try to do your best to take them out and not take too much damage, because the boss battle is coming up in the next room. As we enter the boss battle, we walk over and see Jennifer laying on a couch. Instantly one of the coolest moments in gaming. You're trying to save Jennifer, and then she transforms into this vicious monster. Now this boss is very tough, but the thing about him is, every time you hit him, when he gets knocked backwards, he'll land, and that's when he's going to attack you with a long claw. So if you're out of the range of that long claw, it shouldn't be able to hit you. After a few hits though, don't be fooled, because it's going to turn back into Jennifer and cry for help again. When it does that, it's then going to re-transform and you're going to have to fight it again. I find this boss a lot easier than the boss from level 3, but some find this boss to be the toughest in the game. After it retransforms again, this is finally our last time dealing with it. Once you've defeated it for the final time, it transforms back into Jennifer, but as we can see, it looks like Jennifer has died. We came all this way to save her, and we were unable to do so. At this point, we can assume that Rick's just really ticked off, and he wants to destroy all the demons and whatever caused this house to change, because it now has killed his girlfriend. This is one of the weirdest levels in the game. As you can see, we're inside this hellish area inside the house. And it has all these weird bubbles that fly around, and when they land, a monster creature comes out of the bubble. So try to destroy them before the bubbles land for the creature to come out, but if you can't, once as soon as the monster has formed, then do a quick attack to it before it starts to jump and attack you. This is all that the level is until you get to the boss, which is going to contain a lot more of these bubbles coming out and attacking you while you fight it. So get used to the bubbles and the monsters pretty early on in the level. This is probably one of the least exciting levels in the game. When you get to the end though, you can kind of see what's forming these monsters, I guess, this center, this core inside this house. This boss is going to take a ton of hits to kill, so getting close to it and keep nailing it with some fists. The bubbles don't stop spawning, but the thing is, of course, the boss is not going to move and he's not going to regain health. So focus on the bubbles when you get a couple of them on screen at a time, but try to do your best not to lose any health. Whenever a clean shot opens up for you, that's when you're going to move in close to do damage to it. Once you finally defeated it, it explodes and we move on to the final level of the game. Level 7, the final stage of the game, is one of the toughest areas that you're going to have to contend with when it comes to the jumping and platforming in this game. You have to jump over flaming logs as well as deal with fire enemies that are going to jump down from the ceiling. This level comes down to complete memorization when it comes to being able to get through it without taking damage, because you're going to have to take almost no damage from this area because you're going to have to fight the final boss with the same amount of health. The enemies are always going to come from the same spots every time, so I can't really give too much of a strategy other than, of course, you want to wait for the fire monsters to jump over you, and of course you want to jump over the flaming logs. When we make it to the end, this tombstone explodes and then this evil demonic head starts coming up from the ground. Just like the previous boss, it takes a lot of hits to kill, and you're going to have to keep mashing your attack buttons when it comes up. Once it goes back down under though, it has these giant hands that are going to try to grab you, and your best thing is to try to jump over them right when they're coming down so you don't take damage. You'll also take damage from the falling debris from the ceiling. As the battle continues and you do more damage to the head, the giant hands are going to come out quicker every time. So once the head starts popping up and you start attacking it, the hands are going to come up while you're attacking the head, so you gotta be really careful when timing your attacks. Try to do your best to dodge the hands, since they're probably the worst thing to deal with. But once the monster's been defeated, we can enjoy the ending to Splatterhouse.